أعزائي طلبة المرحلة الأولى، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. محاضرتنا لهذا اليوم ضمن مادة الهيستولوجي النظري بعنوان Integumentary System. This system or skin is the largest organ in the body, which consists of skin and its appendages, including hairs, nails, sweat glands, and sebaceous glands. Let us start with the skin. The skin is the largest component of this system, which forms an outer protective coat around the entire external surface of the body. The thickness of skin varies from half millimeter thick on the eyelids to 4 millimeters thick on the heels of feet. The skin consists of three layers: the epidermis, the dermis, and hypodermis. And this figure shows these layers. The upper one is the epidermis, the middle one is the dermis, and the deepest one is the hypodermis. This cross-section in the skin shows these layers: the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis. The epidermis is keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, which provides a barrier to infection from environmental pathogens, and it regulates the amount of water released from the body into the atmosphere. The epidermis is avascular. This means it doesn't contain blood vessels and is nourished by diffusion from the dermis. The epidermis consists of the following layers: stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, stratum granulosum, stratum spinosum, and stratum germinatum, or it's known as stratum basal. The stratum basal or stratum germinosum is a single layer of cells, and it is closest to the dermis. It is usually only in this layer that cells divided. Some of the dividing cells move up to the next layer. The next layer is known as stratum spinosum, or the prickle cell layer. It consists of 8 to 10 layers of cells. The cells in these layers have lots of desmosomes, which anchor the cells to each other. Also, it contains thick tufts of intermediate filaments. The third layer, known as stratum granulosum, which consists of 3 to 5 layers of cells. As cells move up into this layer, they start to lose their nuclei and cytoplasmic organelles and turn into the keratinized squamous of the next layer. And this figure shows this layer. Also, it shows stratum lucidum, which is a thin transparent layer, and it is difficult to recognize in routine histological sections. The final layer is stratum corneum. These are layers of dead cells reduced to flattened scales or squamous filled with densely packed keratin. The skin contains different types of cells. The first one, keratinocytes, also known as prickle cells. These cells are found in all layers except the stratum basal. A keratinocyte is a cell that manufactures and stores the protein keratin which is give hairs, nails, and skin their hardness and water-resistant properties. The second type of cells is known as melanocytes. They found in the stratum basal, and they produce pigment known as melanin, which gives hair and skin its color, and it helps to protect the living cells from the ultraviolet radiation damage. The third type of cells is known as Langerhans cells. They found in stratum spinosum, and their functions as macrophage by engulfing bacteria, foreign particles, and damaged cells that occur in this layer. The last type of cells known as Merkel cells, and they found in the stratum basal layer, as it's shown in this figure. Their function as a receptor and is responsible for stimulating sensory nerves that the brain perceives as touch. The second layer of the skin, known as dermis. The dermis is the layer of skin that lies beneath the epidermis, as it is shown in this figure. It is the thickest layer of the skin and is made up of fibrous and elastic tissue. Thus, it provides strength and flexibility to the skin. This layer consists of two layers, the papillary dermis and the reticular dermis. The papillary dermis is the more superficial of the two, and it is made up of loose connective tissue, which includes capillaries, elastic fibers, reticular fibers, and collagen. The reticular dermis, which is the deeper and the thicker layer of the dermis, it contains dense connective tissue that includes blood vessels, elastic fibers, collagen fibers, fibroblasts, mast cells, and nerve endings. The last layer of the skin, known as hypodermis, also is known as subcutaneous layer or superficial fascia, is a layer directly below the dermis, and it serves to connect the skin to the underlying fascia of the bones and muscles. This layer consists of loose connective tissue and adipose tissue. The adipose tissue in this layer consists of fat-storing cells, these cells known as adipocytes. This stored fat can serve as an energy reserve, insulate the body to prevent heat loss, in addition to act as a cushion to protect underlying structures from trauma. Epidermal derivatives, also known as epidermal appendages or accessory structures, which includes hairs, nails, and glands. These derivatives are derived from the stratum basal of the epidermis and are end in the reticular layer of the dermis. Let us start with hair, which is made up of dead keratinized cells. The hair consists of hair shaft, hair root, and hair follicle. The hair shaft is the part of hair is not anchored to the follicle, and much of it is exposed at the skin surface, while hair root is anchored in the follicle. The hair shaft consists of medulla, cortex, cuticle. So, when you have a cross section in hair shaft, you can find the medulla, which is the core, and the cortex and the cuticle. The hair follicle consists of three parts: inner root sheath, outer root sheath, and connective tissue sheath. The inner root sheath consists of cuticle, Hazel's layer, and Henle's layer. The outer root sheath is separated from the connective tissue sheath by a membrane known as a glassy basement membrane. At the base of hair follicle or hair bulb, there is a dermal papilla, which contains the blood supply for the hair. Also, there is a hair matrix, which contains the proliferating cells that generate the hair, and the internal root sheath is just above the dermal papilla. The cells in the hair matrix proliferate and move upwards gradually, becoming keratinized to produce the hair. Also, there is a rector pili muscle, which is a small bundle of smooth muscle cells associated with the hair follicle. Contractions of this muscle elevate the hair, forming goosebumps to release heat and help sebum to be released from gland into duct. The second accessory of the skin is nails. The nail is made up of hard keratinized epidermal cells, and the nail has nail body, a free edge, and nail root. The proliferating cells in the nail root form the nail matrix, and their proliferation make the nail elongate continuously. The white crescent at the proximal end is called the lunula. The nail fold that meet the proximal end of the nail body forms the nail cuticle, or is known as epinecium. And the hyponychium, it consists of thickened layer of stratum corneum. The skin has different types of glands, as you can see it in this figure: sebaceous glands, eccrine sweat glands, and apocrine sweat glands. The sebaceous glands secrete a mixture of lipids into hair follicles or to the skin surface in hairless regions. The eccrine sweat glands are widespread throughout the skin, and they secrete a watery liquid to the skin surface known as sweat. Apocrine sweat glands are found mainly in the armpit and groin regions. They secrete a liquid that combines with oils from sebaceous glands. This mixture is odorless unless it comes into contact with bacteria on skin and hair. Skin receptors or cutaneous receptors. Skin is the most extensive sensory receptor of the body, and both of dermis and epidermis layers contain nerve tissue. Three types of receptors. First one is mechanoreceptors that respond to mechanical stimuli such as touch and pressure, thermoreceptors for temperature, and nociceptors for pain. And these receptors include free nerve endings, Merkel discs, Krauss end bulbs, Meissner's corpuscles, Bassinian corpuscles, and Ruffini corpuscles. And this figure shows these receptors. Skin functions. The skin has different roles in your body. Firstly, it protects your body against external damage and pathogens invasion. The second role is sensation, because the skin contains different receptors for touch, pressure, pain, and temperature. And the third role is thermoregulation, because of adipose tissue against heat loss. Also, secretion of sweat for cooling. And the last role is metabolic function, synthesis of vitamin D by the action of ultraviolet light on precursors molecules. Thank you for your attention.